So I can't believe the synergy and the integratedness that happens when I'm speaking at New Beginnings. I started preparing the concepts for what I was going to do today well over a week ago, worked on it on the drive here, get my notes together all yesterday, and then each speaker's like, holy shit, how'd they know I was going to say that? Holy crap, how'd they do that? It is amazing how life sort of creates this process that began weeks ago in my mind and the minds of the people that were speaking. Why do we come here? We call this home. I believe we come to New Beginnings for agreement, to come in collective agreement into a space and a consciousness to make a change, to contribute to the lives that we touch within our practices. But it's only through reinforcing that agreement, because out in the world, lots of people see the world very differently than we do here. There's a palpable energy that's here the moment that you come into the space, that we come in together as family. Why do we do this? To come together as family, to come to agreement, to change the world. We all want to contribute to the world. We all want to make a difference. But I really believe what we all really, really want is to be happy, to be joyous. And there's really a difference between happiness and joy, isn't there? Happiness comes to you from the outside. Somebody gives you something you really like, you get happy. You go buy something, you get really happy. But joy comes from the inside out. It's a soulful expression of who you be. We all want to be healthy. And we understand that health is a hell of a lot more than just being free of symptoms and disease, but it's a process of our bodies working to its potential, whatever that is. We all strive to do that. We look at health differently. We come here for that. We come here to be vital. You know, we used to say wellness in our practice, but wellness has come to be so many things that I'm not. You know, removing perfectly healthy, normal breast tissue to be well is considered a wellness event. To get vaccinations is wellness. So I don't like using the term wellness anymore, just like health has become to mean something different. So I like vital. We come here in agreement to see vitality, to build that vital force within us. And we come here to be powerful. Powerful in the expression of this ideal and this philosophy within our world, within our practices, within our lives. So what's your power? It's finding that authenticity. Who you be, and expressing who you be authentically. But then we go into our lives, into our practices, into our relationships, into our families, and I don't know about you, but sometimes we have problems. You get a notice in the mail, and it's an insurance company that's auditing your records on 25 children you've been taking care of for the last 25 years. You get a letter in the mail from the IRS, and they want to audit your records for the last 3 years of all the finances that you have. You wind up feeling something inside your body. Am I okay? Or your spouse or your child has a challenge. And holding those states of joy, of health, of vitality, sometimes become challenging. Holding the state that we really want becomes a challenge as we integrate it within our lives. Well, a master of teaching us about state is Tony Robbins. He says that your state is created by your physiology, how you hold your body, and part of it is your psychology, how you look at things. And as much as we like to think positive, there's a difference between positive thinking and a positive attitude. That ultimately what we're striving for is to see the good, see the positivity in whatever is occurring within our lives. But I believe to hold that state of joy, that state of vitalism, that state of health and well-being, that state of power, comes from finding an alignment of who you be in the expression of who you do. No pun intended. I just got that. Who you be becomes an authentic expression of your soul, of that vital rivulet of energy that created you. That the moment that you tune into that, then it doesn't matter what happens in your life. as Carol was beautifully articulating, find that peace inside of you and nurture that. Allow that to be expressed. And indeed, you will find health and vitality, and joy and power. You see, first, it comes into a level of deservingness, feeling that you're good enough, that you are enough. I remember learning the process of visualization and affirmation. And I believe putting those thoughts out into the world, as Pasquale used to say, thoughts are things. Those things that we put out into the world make a difference. What we think, what we see in our mind's eye makes a difference in the world. But yet the only way that that comes into your field, that comes into your energetic space, is a level of deservingness. That the lower chakras of our body really have to be healed to allow us to pull into our magnetic field those things that we affirm within our lives. That it's indeed a cyclical process, but it comes from a level of deservingness, of recognition that you are enough, that you are enough. You deserve success, not out of your ego, but out of your soul. In that space, miracles happen. The next level of allowing Spirit to come through is to be trustworthy. To being trusting of everyone around you and allowing someone to trust you. To hand you a baby and say, check my baby. And that you, in all good conscience, can say, I can serve this baby. That someone can hand you their heart and you can hold their heart. And they can trust that you will hold that sacred within their lives. I'm going to place in here everything I love about chiropractic. Our philosophy, the change in the physiology that we can make, the power of an adjustment, the difference of how it changes the consciousness of the world. I want to place it in here. I know, without a shadow of a doubt, I can hand it to Ron Marsh and walk away for a year or 5 years or 10 years and come back, and it will be as pure and beautiful and maybe better than the day I handed it to him. I know that I could hand it to Patty Giuliano, and it would come back to me pure, beautiful, because I trust that she can do that. I know I could hand it to Edwin Cordero or Jim Dubell or Carol Yazzie or just about anybody in this room. There are very few that I truly can hand this to outside of my circles, outside of people who I truly love in chiropractic. Because there's other agendas that get attached to it. A business, finances, ego, and in my opinion, that is destroying what we have. And as much as the seminars and all the things that they do might be good, because it doesn't come true from spirit, doesn't come true to authenticity of a person's soul, that it destroys the expression of that life. And no matter what state a person holds, or how good they can convince, how good they can sell, it destroys that which we all love. And the next phase is to become empathetic. Empathetic, it doesn't mean a negative thing whatsoever. It means that you can feel another person's feelings, that you can come into presence, that you can sit with them or breathe with them, as Dr. Dean said yesterday, and hold that space, that it's not an I, as Becky was talking about it, but it's a we and a one. And lastly, to come from a space of loving. I used to think that I couldn't love another being until I understood them. And if I've gotten anything on this journey of life, you really don't understand another being until you love them unconditionally first. I believe that we are all created from this place of love and purity and brilliance. And the more we can connect to that truth, we don't need to fight. We don't need to overtake. We don't need to overcome. We need to live in a state of purity and congruence of our soul. That will allow us that state of joy, of vitality, of health, of power, soft power, a power that comes from the heart. When we come together at New Beginnings, we really explore the soul of our profession. I believe that that soul exhibits itself on multiple dimensions, but it has us explore deep within our philosophy. And there are some things within our philosophy that I sat with as a student, as in practice, and many speakers here at New Beginnings, and I struggled with. Well, this intelligence that you talk about is so brilliant and wonderful, then why the hell do we subluxate? And why, when I adjust somebody, do I need to adjust them again? And why doesn't this life energy correct its own subluxations? So this is, I don't think, and I know I get stones thrown at me for this. When a subluxation occurs, it's not a wrong thing. It's the most intelligent thing that the physiology could do at that moment in time. That the physiology experiences something that it can't quite process, can't integrate, can't figure it out, and it holds that experience in the neuroskeleton. However you see it, as a short leg, as a working muscle, as a fixation, as a misalignment, however it is, but it's held, and then it carries it into another point in time. It's holding an experience. At that moment was the most honoring thing it could do to the physiology. Didn't know what to do with it, so it stores it, and it carries it into a future moment in time, where they walk into your office, and you see the short leg or the fixation or the working muscle, whatever it is. You put a force into the system, and the body says, oh, that's what that was all about. And it dissipates, discharges, comes into a greater degree of presence at that moment. It becomes more fully alive. Not getting rid of anything, learning from it. Coming into a different place, not going back in time, not restoring anything, not realigning anything, but coming into an understanding at that moment what happened to that physiology. That we offer a learning process. That what an adjustment does is allows this amazing power of life to learn more, understand more of its experience, to come into greater presence of this moment. Because the subluxation, as we view it, is obviously not preferred. It's not what we want. But it's not the subluxation we really care about. It's a better life expression that we care about. A greater degree of presence is what we care about. It's not about fixing anything. It's about bringing life to happen as best as life can express itself and organize itself to its highest capability based upon the entire life experience that that person has had. So I believe to do that as clinicians, as caregivers, we need to come into a state of becoming a master at our art form. And I believe there are three things that I want to leave with you or share with you of developing that masterfulness. Step one in masterfulness. A person can't learn in a state of survival. If you're willing to believe me that what a subluxation correction, bad word, an adjustment is a learning process, then you can't adjust a nervous system that's in a state of survival and allow it to learn. Have you ever been going to adjust somebody and you're going to do a modified rotary brake? They're lying in a supine position and you're going to adjust their atlas on the right side, and just as you get into position you say, I don't think it's going to move. Ever been there? Now everything said it was the right atlas. The short leg, the fixation, the misalignment, everything says it's the right atlas. I don't think it's going to move. Ever been lying on the table and you're about to get adjusted and the person's in the position and say, I don't think it's going to move. But you're there and your ego gets into place and say, well, they think I'm supposed to do something. I've done this before. And everything says the right atlas. I better do it. And nothing happens. But then what do? You immediately beat yourself up. Oh, I'm not a good adjuster. You sneak it in there. And you might get it to cavitate. And you might see a change. And the person might say, Yeah, you got it. This woman in my practice comes in, I'll put a force in sometimes, nothing moves. She says, you didn't get it. I want to smack her. But when you were in that position right before you did it, you knew that it wasn't the right place at the right time, or the right position or the right vector, or they weren't in the right posture. Pay attention. Trust your intuition. Trust that little voice. Is recognize that no two human beings learn exactly the same way. Everybody learns differently. Yet what we try to do is to take a person and put them into our technique. We try to put a person into a system that we have identified is a proper window of how we're supposed to apply forces into the physiology. We take a person and say, they're broken, we're going to fix them with this technique. That's not our job. If we honor the fact that life is unique and different with every single human being, and even in every single human being, every single day, with every single thought and every single life experience, it's our responsibility as chiropractors, as caregivers, and as masters of our art to mold our technical knowledge to the needs of that person. To take the techniques that we've learned in the classes of the masters and not try to duplicate them, but become who we be in expressing that art form in what we do. When beingness is expressed in doingness, you express the totality of what you are designed to be. We define ourselves sometimes by what we do. I do Gonstead, I do Thompson, I do family practice, I do kids. It's not what we do, it's not what we get, it's who we be. And the third level of mastery, I believe, comes from building agreement, having harmony. Have you ever gotten off a chiropractic table and felt like you got beat up? Whose agenda is being satisfied with the adjustment? The chiropractor or the person receiving the force? Whose agenda is it? Are you adjusting from the place of, I know where that bone is supposed to be, boom? Or is it, how can I serve you? How can I love you? How can we allow life to harmonize in the system better? How can we bring joy, congruence, life expression into who you be? I propose that that's when we allow our beingness to fully align to our doingness. My brothers and sisters, thank you for being home here at New Beginnings and carrying this vital life energy back home into your environments. You are not alone. You are loved. Thank you.
Peter Kevorkian.